Marquette came up with it. If they got enough for the first down, I don't think they did.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. It was a bad mesh between Vest and Newquist, as Newquist never really got the snap, and I think Newquist got it back, but only gained a yard. He needed 2, so the Knights will take over on downs.
Yeah, that's a shame, because Marquette had a chance to really put the game away in this last series here, but again, the mishandle on that handoff, and the ball's on the ground. We lose it, and it's first down Knights. They've got 1:04 left. I would imagine they're going to just try to get into the locker room now.
So the Knights dodge a bullet after their third turnover. The Explorers unable to convert. And Marquette took a shot at the end zone there with that long pass, and that play was there. They just didn't quite have the mesh. And now the Explorers will take a timeout, as they just want to make sure that they don't get beat deep here with 1:04 remaining. And I think in part, perhaps Coach Reinhardt just wants to give the guys a blow, as they don't want to have any mistakes here in the last 1:04.
Yeah, most certainly you do not want to, being up 28-6, give the other team any kind of momentum. So the Marquette defense has to be wide awake. They have to put in probably their prevent defense and make sure that they don't throw anything long on them. Get a good rush on the quarterback, and he won't throw anything long on you. This
is where you can bend, but you don't want to break.
Right.
So Marquette leading 28-6. They led it 14-0 at the end of one quarter, but about midway through the second quarter, Metro East Lutheran converted a Marquette fumble, drove recovering the Marquette fumble, and got on the scoreboard, and with 6:33 remaining in this quarter, Marquette's lead was cut to 14-6, but then Marquette responded with 2 long drives of 65 and 45 yards, to take a 28-6 lead, and then the Explorers had another opportunity here moments ago as Metro East Lutheran turned it over on their own side of the 50, and the Explorers unable to convert on that. And so now here late in the second quarter, with 1:04 remaining in the half, Metro East Lutheran has it 1st and 10 at their own 27-yard line. And as Mike says, perhaps the Knights would be content just to run that time off and go back and regroup. They will get the second half kickoff, or they will not. The Explorers will get the second half kickoff.
Right.
And the Explorers, meantime, don't want to be caught by a surprise, so they called that timeout. Langendorf under center, 1st and 10 from his own 27, and they give it to Mintz, and he goes nowhere as the Explorers meet him in the backfield and throw him for a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, he lost 3 on that, but it looks like Metro East is just going to run the clock out right now. And
well, if that's the case, why don't you just take a knee?
Well,
why risk a handoff?
I don't know, Sam. I don't coach anymore. I can't answer that question.
Well, we asked those questions up in the booth when you were coaching, so
I bet
as you well know.
I bet you guys never second-guessed me up here in the booth.
Oh, it's easy to do that up here, isn't it?
It's very easy.
The game's a lot easier up here.
It's a lot easier up here.
2nd and 13 for the Knights from their own 25-yard line. And one more play, and this half will be history. They do. Oh, they try to hand it off, and the Explorers dive in there and finally bring Langendorf down, as Langendorf was alert as that play was blown up before he could make the handoff, and he was smart enough just to tuck it away. He lost 5 on that play, and that'll be it for the half. The time has run off the clock. The first 2 quarters of the season are in the books for the Marquette Explorers and the Metro East Lutheran Knights. And at halftime, the score is Marquette 28, Metro East Lutheran 6. You're listening to Z1570 Radio Sports.
What do I need to do to sell you a car today?
Roberts Motors, 2 locations, Alton and Wood River.
Looking for something to do this weekend?
RiverBender.com.
How about great deals on your favorite pastime?
RiverBender.com.
Maybe you're in the market for a new home.
RiverBender.com.
Or a new car.
RiverBender.com.
Restaurants, menus, coupons, and gift certificates.
RiverBender.com.
No matter what you're shopping for,
RiverBender.com.
if you live in the Riverbend community, you need to visit.
Sam Stem along with Mike Slaughter back in Edwardsville, Metro East Lutheran High School. This only the second meeting ever between Marquette and Metro East Lutheran. They met for the first time last season. Marquette won that one 42-0. This fledgling football program here at Lutheran, but they're coming along.
They are coming along. I've been impressed with some of the things they've done. I watched them last year, and I've got to be honest. Last year, I came away not very impressed at all. But this year, I see some things they got to work on. They're getting better, and Sam, midway through the second quarter, we had a game here.
Yes.
So they're doing something right. But again, they've still got a little ways to go.
Well, at the half, the score is Marquette 28, Metro East Lutheran 6. And here's the way that first half scoring went. The Explorers got on the board first. It came with 7:45 remaining in the first quarter. A 9-yard touchdown run by the Explorers' Jared Zerwas. Corey Marin added the extra point. Marquette led 7-0. That touchdown drive set up by a bad snap on a punt attempt by Metro East Lutheran. It set Marquette up inside the Lutheran 30-yard line, and the Explorers didn't take long to convert on that 9-yard touchdown run by Jared Zerwas. Then later in the first quarter, a Metro East Lutheran fumble set up Marquette on a short field. Actually, it was not a fumble. It was Marquette was going to punt, even though they were in Metro East Lutheran territory. On a fourth down, 4th and long, the Explorers were going to try to pin the Knights back deep in their own territory. And on the punt attempt, Corey Marin, the punter, was roughed, and it gave Marquette a first down inside the Metro East Lutheran 30-yard line. Again, they converted. This time, again, a 9-yard touchdown run by Jared Zerwas. Corey Marin added the extra point, and with 3:08 remaining in the first quarter, thanks to two big mistakes by the Knights, the Explorers led 14-0. Then, back early, about midway through the second quarter, Marquette fumbled in Metro East Lutheran territory and set the Knights up in good field position, and the Knights converted a 12-yard touchdown pass by Langendorf to Wise. The extra point attempt was blocked, but with 6:33 remaining in the second quarter, we did have a game, as Mike said. 14-6, Marquette led it. On the ensuing kickoff, the Explorers started 1st and 10 at their own 35. They ran 7 plays, went 65 yards, capped off by a 2-yard touchdown run by Larry Newquist. And with 4:16 remaining in the second quarter, Marquette had its 3-touchdown lead back. They led it 21-6. And then a Metro East Lutheran turnover set the Explorers up on a short field. They started at the Metro East Lutheran 45, and 3 plays later, Jared Zerwas took it in. In fact, Zerwas went all 45 yards in 3 plays. The last run, a 7-yard touchdown run, his 3rd of the afternoon, and with 3:04 remaining in the second quarter, Marquette led 28-6. So we had 5 touchdowns there in the first half. 4 of the 5 were set up by turnovers, in effect, if you count that roughing the kicker as a turnover, and in effect it is.
It is.
So 4 of the 5 touchdowns set up by turnovers, and that is not surprising.
That's very typical in a first game to make mistakes like that, and both teams are making those kind of mistakes. And what the coaches will do is try to settle the kids down at halftime. But once this game's over with and in the books, next week, the coaches, both the Metro East coach, Coach Schutte, and Coach Reinhardt from Marquette, will be working on trying to minimize mistakes. The teams that minimize mistakes throughout the season are the teams that normally end up being your winners. The teams that continue making mistakes throughout the course of the season are your teams that normally do have a poor record once the season's over with.
Taking a look at some of the halftime statistics, with Marquette leading 28-6. And part of the reason Marquette leads 28-6 is because they were the beneficiary of more turnovers than was Metro East Lutheran. The Knights fumbled 3 times and lost all 3. And then, of course, as we said, that roughing the kicker call, in effect, was a 4th turnover. So that's just too many and a half. That's too many in a game, and especially too many in a half. The Explorers fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them. But actually, the third fumble late in the half on a handoff to Newquist right up the middle might have cost Marquette a first down and maybe a touchdown on that drive. So the Marquette one turnover costly, but another fumble that they recovered themselves cost them as well. So the turnovers for the Explorers also costly as well. In terms of penalties, not many penalties at all. So we're talking about mistakes in the first half of the season, the first half of the first game. And while we've got plenty of turnovers to point to, not terribly too many penalties. Metro East Lutheran just one penalty, but it was costly. It was that roughing the kicker call. For the Explorers, 3 penalties, one of which a major penalty, pass interference, perhaps a little bit questionable. But I would think at halftime, Coach Reinhardt's not too terribly concerned about 3 penalties in the first half.
No, the penalty part of the game on both sides has not been too bad. What you would expect at this time after the first half is that there would be more penalties than there would fumbles. And as you said, Sam, we've had 4 fumbles on one side, I think, and 3 on the other side. And that's the main thing right now, that both teams have to hold on to the ball. But as far as the penalties go, it's been a very clean but very well-played game.
Here at halftime, total yardage for each team for the Explorers, 202 yards, all rushing. 202 yards rushing in the first half, 0 yards passing as Max Vest went 0 for 3 in the passing department. Leading the way for the Explorers in the rushing department, Jared Zerwas, 9 carries, 137 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's a great way to start a season.
That's a heck of a way to start a season, let alone just the first half of a season. If he comes out and even does half that for the second half, he's got one heck of an opening game. Zerwas last year hardly played in the offense, other than as a receiver. He did not play in the backfield as a running back, and he's really doing one heck of a good job. So you gotta give him a pat on the back. Of course, Newquist, we expect Newquist to be there. What does concern me, of course, is the 0 for 3 in passing.
Yes.
First, I'm surprised that we've only passed 3 times. But even though we've passed 3 times, you'd like to see us hit 1 or 2 of those, if not all 3 of them. And Max did have a kid wide open for a touchdown, and he overthrew him. So that does concern me, because I guarantee you, in the next 8 games, there's going to be many a time when Marquette is going to have to go up in the air.
Newquist, 10 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown. Travis Jones, 1 carry for 2 yards. Max Vest carried 3 times for 17 yards, and Jake Harrison, 1 carry for 3 yards, but Harrison fumbled on that carry, and that is the fumble that set up the Metro East Lutheran touchdown drive. And since that time, we haven't seen Harrison get the football, so he may get a talking to and say, "Son, when you figure out how to hang on to the football, we'll give it to you again and give you another chance." Coach Reinhardt has talked a little bit about Max Vest and putting him in as his quarterback, and he says the things he likes about Max are the fact that he's smart and that he does what I want him to do. He implies that perhaps Vest is not the best pure passer, but as a coach, I think you can, as a former coach, you can relate with having a quarterback who's smart and does what you want him to do.
Being smart is so important at that quarterback position. And, I can go through, I coached Marquette football for 25 years. And in all that time, our quarterbacks were always one of the smartest kids out there. They weren't always the best passers, but they were always smart. And that's what's important. Coach Reinhardt came into Marquette, and the first thing he looked for in a quarterback was the kid who can make the offense run and can take a whole new offense. Because again, these kids are running a new offense this year. What Coach also wants in a quarterback is a leader, and Max Vest is a leader. So Max probably is not the best passer on this Marquette team. But right now, as a senior, he's the best leader, and he's a smart kid, and he's what Coach needs right now. Only time will tell. I think Max will most likely lead the Marquette team the whole season. I don't, unless something happens, he gets hurt or something like that. But we can't start pushing a panic button because Max is 0 for 3 right now. Maybe when he's 0 for 17, then we start wondering a little bit. But I don't see that happening.
Well, and to his defense, on a couple of those passes, he was under some pressure. And one he threw here on the near sideline, and the receiver caught it but kind of juggled it before he went out of bounds. It was a tremendous throw under pressure. And then, as you said, the one late there in the half down on the far sideline down there, the fly route down the left sideline, the timing just wasn't there, but you wouldn't expect it to be immediately to start the season when a kid at a new position.
Yeah, you're right. And on that third pass that he missed, the second pass of his second attempt, he got hit from behind, and the ball went into the ground. So, again, we're not pushing the panic button or saying that coach needs to start looking for a new quarterback. No, Max is doing a fine job out there. I'm anxious to see if coach comes out this third quarter, this second half, and does try to put the ball up in the air and start working on his passing game. He's obviously been able to work on his running game the first half, and believe me, it's when you have 200 yards rushing at the end of the first half. I coached in many a game where we did not have 200 yards rushing in the whole game, and sometimes in 2 games. But he's got a nice rushing attack going right now, but I think he's probably going to come out this third quarter and maybe work on his passing game a little bit and see what the score is at the end of 3 as to what he decides to do the fourth quarter.
We'll take a look at the Metro East Lutheran statistics here at halftime. As our halftime coverage continues, at the half, the score Marquette 28, Metro East Lutheran 6. You're listening to Z1570 Radio Sports.
You've seen the billboards and the crazy floats, but what exactly is RiverBender.com? RiverBender.com puts the Riverbend community at your fingertips. Riverbend news and entertainment, as well as an awesome shopping guide with terrific money-saving coupons from area businesses, a full classified section, a link to local websites, games, and so much more. Plus, every week, RiverBender.com awards cash and prizes. You can be a winner, too. Don't miss out any longer. Check out RiverBender.com today.
Sam's Tim along with Mike Slaughter back in Edwardsville, where at halftime Marquette leads Metro East Lutheran 28-6. Don't forget, following this broadcast, we've got more high school football for you. The Roxana Shells went down to Freeburg last night to take on the Midgets in the season opener for both of those teams, and we have complete play-by-play coverage for you coming up here following the second half of coverage here on Z1570 featuring Marquette and Metro East Lutheran. We told you about Marquette's 202 yards in total offense, all rushing yardage in the first half. Metro East Lutheran had 98 yards in total offense, which is a fairly respectable amount in a half of football. 62 yards rushing, 38 yards passing. Their leading ball carrier was Mike Mentz, their halfback, carried 8 times for 40 yards. Joe McCall, the fullback, 5 carries, no yardage. Langendorf, the quarterback, carried 4 times for 11 yards. And the wingback, Scott Hampton, 4 carries for 11 yards. Langendorf completed 5 of 9 pass attempts for 42 yards and a touchdown. His leading receiver, Christian Wise, 3 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. Scott Hampton had a reception for 14 yards, and Mentz caught 1 pass for 1 yard. And so the Knights will look out, really, I guess, at halftime. If you're Matt Schutte and his coaching staff, including Charlie Rage, you say, hey, boys, you played well. You just got to cut out the turnovers. Exactly. 6 penalties for 55 yards. And the 16th first down of the afternoon for the Knights. 1st and 10 at the Marquette 25. Here they give it on the wing counter. And that's Hampton, and he is spun down. He looked like he might be off to the races, but Gary Clark got him by the jersey and spun him down. But still, Hampton with about a 5-yard pickup down to the 20.
Yeah, that looked like a very well-forming play. I thought he was in the end zone, but Clark made a nice play just by grabbing the jersey and holding on and spinning them down.
2nd and 5 Knights just outside the Marquette 20-yard line. 5:20 and counting remaining in the third quarter. Roxana and Freeburg coming up next here on Z1570. When we wrap up here, we'll take a news break and then more high school football. 2nd and 5 at the 20. Here is the give on the, well, I was going to say the single lead, but they didn't really lead him.
Well, basically it was a single lead.
The fullback went one way and Mintz went the other, and Mintz picks up a yard inside the 20 down to the 19-yard line.
That was actually well played by the Marquette defense. Like I said, I'd like to see the Marquette defense do something big here. Stop these guys from getting in the end zone, maybe pick off a pass here or something. But I really do like the idea of getting all these kids on the field who last year we never saw them on the field much at all. Again, some of these are sophomores, some of them are juniors, a couple of seniors out there maybe. No, it looks like mostly sophomores and juniors.
3rd and 4 Knights at the Marquette 19-yard line. Fumble on the snap. That's about the 3rd or 4th time that's happened to the Knights. And let's see who comes up with the football. The Explorers say they have, and the officials agree. So the Marquette defense holds, forcing yet another turnover. That is the 4th fumble lost by the Knights this afternoon. Plus, they had that roughing the kicker call, which was akin to a turnover. So when you have 4 or 5 turnovers in a ball game, you're going to have a hard time staying in that game, and that's been the biggest problem for the Knights here this afternoon. Turnovers and giving up the big play.
Right. And but that was really nice in that the Marquette defense, again, the second teamers, or whatever you want to call them, they made the stop there. Right now we've got the second team offense in there, so it'll be neat to see them, see what they can do.
Keenan Eberlin under center from the 21-yard line for the Explorers. They pitch it back, and here's Jones. He just runs right through a tackler out across the 25 to about the 28 or 29-yard line. Travis Jones, a freshman.
If he gets into the open, Sam, he is gone. So, and right now, we got a fresh offense in there. These guys all have fresh legs, and the Knights still have their starters out there.
Travis Jones, 3 carries, 28 yards, and a touchdown. He picked up 8 there. 2nd and 2, Explorers from their own 29-yard line. 3:25 and counting remaining in the 4th quarter. Eberlin. Well, that's not Eberlin.
Actually,
now a different quarterback.
Andre Embry's in there.
Here's Travis Jones, first down yardage out across the 35-yard line. A gain of about 7 on that carry for Jones.
Yeah, Jones, 2 nice runs there. Embry's in the quarterback now. Andre Embry, he's a sophomore, very good athlete. He just needs to learn the offense better. He's had a little bit of trouble learning the offense. Again, it's a change from being a freshman, but he's got a lot of natural ability.
Embry wears number 13. Now it's Eberlin back
now
in.
It's
Number
Eberlin
11.
back in.
So they're running plays in with the quarterback. Eberlin turns and gives it once again to Travis Jones, and Jones this time stacked up. Never does go down. Finally he does, but they just had a big old-fashioned scrum out there. But somehow Travis managed to keep his legs churning and picked up a yard, maybe 2. We'll call it a gain of 1.
Well, like I told you, this Travis Jones, he's not very tall, but he is a very muscular freshman. Good speed, good power, and he could be something special for Marquette.
Well, sometimes being tall is not necessarily an advantage as a running back.
No, it absolutely is not.
On the 2nd down play, 2nd and 9, and this time it's Embry, and now we've got a fumble. Travis Jones fumbles this time, and the Knights recover. So the Explorers have lost their 3rd fumble this afternoon. They fumbled 5 times, lost 3 of them.
Yeah, that looked like Jones's fault. I think Embry put it in his gut, but Jones just never put the ball away. And again, we have a sophomore, inexperienced quarterback handing off to a freshman, inexperienced running back. If it's going to happen, it better happen when you're up 48-18.
So now the Knights offense back out onto the field, slowly. They're just tuckered out. They don't have the numbers Marquette has, and so they haven't been able to spell some of these two-way players. And we kicked off 2 hours and 40 minutes ago and played a lot of football, and it's really warmed up here in the second half, and it's taking its toll. Now here is Wise. Christian Wise makes the reception on the slant and takes it down to the 15-yard line. A pickup of 18 on that completion.
And again, we've seen that before. That was the Langendorf to Wise connection, and very nice pass, nice catch, and nice run after the catch. Luckily, Marquette had two defenders there to make the stop before he got into the end zone.
Wise, 7 receptions for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Langendorf has completed 10 of 16 for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. 1st and 10 Knights at the Marquette 15-yard line. The clock rolling with 1:50 remaining in the football game. Receiver to the left side, that's Wise, and now they run that wing reverse, and in for the touchdown is Scott Hampton. Hampton, a 15-yard touchdown run. They run that little double handoff there in the backfield, and that time the Explorers didn't know who had the football, and Hampton took it in virtually untouched from 15 yards out.
No, but it's a good experience to see that kind of stuff, because in the upcoming games they're going to be seeing those kind of reverses and cutbacks and whatnot, and especially against, Wood River's got a new coach this year, so we're not facing the Gary Carter offense, but the coach there at Wood River now runs what Coach Hook runs, and it's a lot of misdirection and hiding the ball and that kind of stuff.
Hello again, everybody. This is Chipper Dan for Admo Golf Marketing. Golfers or business owners for a free round of golf at courses like Annbriar, Far Oaks, Peebly Farms, and Winghaven. Go to admogolf.com or call 314-993-9300. Join the Admo Golf Club and you'll receive a free golf lesson, Titleist Pro V1 logo golf balls, and even a free neck and back massage. Go to admogolf.com to sign up or call 314-993-9300.
The score is Marquette 48, Metro East Lutheran 24. You're listening to Z1570 Radio Sports.
What do I have to do to sell you a car today?
Roberts Motors, 2 locations, Alton and Wood River.
With Mike Slaughter, Sam Stem back in Edwardsville, Metro East Lutheran High School. This one's almost in the books, 1:39 remaining in the fourth quarter, and Marquette leads the Metro East Lutheran Knights 48-24. The Knights are going to end up with more than 300 yards in total offense.
Well, keep in mind, too, I mean, they played a nice game today. They really did. But a lot of those yards have come lately against the second and third team defense. But they did get quite a few yards against our first ones.
Now the onside kick attempt. Covered. Oh, it's loose, and the Explorers finally covered. It looked like Marquette had covered it at about the 42. It came loose. And another Marquette player covered it at the 40. So the Marquette offense back out onto the field, and they'll try to run the final 1:35 off the clock.
Yeah, I hope they can just take a knee a couple times. The first kid on that onside kick, he had it, and then he let it slip away from him. The next kid got it from Marquette. It's amazing, Sam, just how hard it is to pick up a bouncing football. It's not like a round soccer ball or a kickball or something, basketball even. It's these things, they just bounce all over the place, and even when you think you've got it, sometimes it squirts out.
Marquette has rushed for 379 yards so far in this game. They have not completed a pass. Now Eberlin under center pitches it back to Travis Jones, and Jones gains about a yard as they did a wing sweep. They put the wing in motion from the left side and then pitched it to him like a toss sweep, and Jones was heading north and south real quick, but they hit him and kept him to a gain of less than a yard.
Well, you got to get some holes, and to get the holes, you got to have the linemen opening those holes. We've got some inexperienced linemen who in a game like this, and hopefully in the future, will gain a lot of experience and end up opening those holes for a kid like Travis Jones.
The clock rolling with less than a minute remaining. Marquette leading 48-24. The Explorers will start the 2007 season with a victory, but they got a tough one next week as they travel to Greenville. Eberlin pitches back, and here they try to sweep the left side on the carry now. Instead of a quarterback, Andre Embry, was in as a wing back, and he ends up picking up about 5 yards on that carry. And Marquette may or may not have to snap it again. I don't think they will.
No, that should do it now. The ref just gave the signal to start the clock, and we're down to 15
to wrap it up
seconds.
in just a moment. You're listening to Z1570 Radio Sports.
Make life easy for yourself at the United Methodist Village.
With no more stairs and no more home upkeep, in a spacious apartment or villa home, with no upfront endowment and just one monthly fee, you stay in control of your finances. Now that's easy and smart. Countryside living that is fun, neighborly, and only minutes from the Clark Bridge. The United Methodist Village, where living is easy.
I only wish I'd have moved here sooner.
Sam Stem along with Mike Slaughter back in Edwardsville. The final score, Marquette 48, Metro East Lutheran 24. And the Explorers start the season 1-0. The Knights, of course, start 0-1. Marquette heads next Friday night to Greenville to take on the Comets. A very tough matchup there. Greenville won last night, beating Breeze Central at home 28-14. So the Comets have the advantage of starting with 2 straight home games, and the Explorers will be the second opponent for them. But the main thing is Marquette got the Rick Reinhardt era off to a flying start, winning 48-24. Marquette with 380 yards in total offense, all rushing. They did not complete a pass, as Max Vest finished the day 0 for 4 in the passing department. The Knights with 306 yards in total offense, 211 yards rushing, 95 yards passing. The headlines, well, Jared Zerwas, 196 yards rushing in 13 carries with 4 touchdowns. Then Larry Newquist chipped in with 12 carries for 61 yards rushing and a touchdown. And Max Vest, 4 carries, 42 yards and a touchdown. And Travis Jones, the freshman, 6 carries, 37 yards and a touchdown. For the Metro East Lutheran Knights, Mike Mintz rushed for 100 yards this afternoon, 18 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown for Mintz. Andrew Langendorf completed 10 of 16 passes for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. His favorite receiver, Christian Wise, who caught 7 of those passes for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Metro East Lutheran, Mike, I think, seeing a lot of positive things. They've got some things they can build on here this afternoon.
Absolutely. Last year after the first game, we saw the Knights, and we didn't think all that much of them. We didn't think they would have much of a season. I think they wound up 2-7, but the Knights should keep their heads up. They showed some things tonight. The thing is, though, they need depth. Most small schools do need depth. Marquette needs depth, too. But what we saw was the Knights had to keep their starters on the field the whole game, and that in the future could be a problem. If Langendorf or Metz, or other key players go down, then they're in for a long season. But they showed some good things. Obviously, we'll talk about Marquette in a minute. Marquette showed a lot of really nice things, too.
Here's the way the scoring went this afternoon. The Explorers got off to an early lead, a 9-yard touchdown run by Jared Zerwas. Corey Marin added the extra point with 7:45 remaining in the first quarter. Marquette led 7-0. Then just a few minutes later, Jared Zerwas again from 9 yards out. Corey Marin's extra point made it 14-0 Marquette with 3:08 remaining in the first quarter. But midway through the second quarter, the Knights got on the scoreboard. A 12-yard touchdown pass from Andrew Langendorf to Christian Wise. The extra point attempt was blocked, and with 6:33 remaining in the first half, Marquette's lead was only 14-6. But then the Explorers put together a 65-yard, 7-play drive, capped off by a 2-yard touchdown run by Larry Newquist. Marin's extra point made it 21-6 Explorers with 4:16 remaining in the second quarter. Then, following a Metro East Lutheran fumble, Marquette went 45 yards in 3 plays, capped off by a 7-yard touchdown run by Jared Zerwas. And with 3:04 remaining in the first half, Marquette led 28-6. That's the way it stood at halftime. Then the Explorers scored early in the second half. With 11:35 remaining in the third quarter, Jared Zerwas, an 8-yard touchdown run, a 2-point conversion attempt after a bad snap failed. Marquette's lead was 34-6. They took only 2 plays to go 49 yards after the second half kickoff. Then the Knights got back on the board. Mike Mintz, a 6-yard touchdown run. The 2-point conversion attempt failed, and with 3:39 remaining in the third quarter, Marquette's lead was 34-12. Then Travis Jones for the Explorers scored from 24 yards out. Corey Marin added the extra point. With 2:33 remaining in the third quarter, Marquette led 41-12, but that was not the end of the third quarter scoring, because with 1:40 remaining in the third quarter, Langendorf for Metro East Lutheran hit Wise with a 19-yard touchdown pass. The 2-point conversion attempt failed. Marquette's lead was cut to 41-18, but the Explorers answered almost immediately. With 1 second remaining in the third quarter, Max Vest, a 25-yard touchdown run. Corey Marin added the extra point. Marquette's lead was 48-18. Then the only score of the fourth quarter came with just 1:39 remaining in the football game. Scott Hampton, a 15-yard touchdown run for Metro East Lutheran. The 2-point conversion attempt failed. 48-24, the final score. Marquette wins it. For the Explorers, we talked about the great day by Jared Zerwas. 13 carries, 196 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then Larry Newquist chipped in, as did Travis Jones, and Vest showed the ability to move the football on the ground. I guess a little bit of concern that Vest didn't complete a pass, but he only threw 4. So, and a couple of those were nice passes. One was caught just barely out of bounds. Another, the receiver, I don't think was where he was supposed to be. So they really didn't need to throw the football, and they didn't throw it very often.
No, and again, 0 for 4. That's not a big deal, especially as you alluded to, Sam. He had the kids there a couple times, so that's not a concern yet. It could be later on in the season, but I don't think it's going to be. I've seen Max throw too often in practice. I know he can throw the ball. Today, we actually didn't have to throw the ball much, and what a rushing attack. I mean, my gosh, 380 yards, whatever it was on the ground, that's tremendous for our first game.
The biggest concern, I think, 5 fumbles, 3 of them lost.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a concern, and that's something that's going to happen the first game. You've got to cut back on those. A couple of those did come from our JVers, but even yet, if our varsity had 3 fumbles, that's still 3 too many. I tell you what, though, the biggest thing about this game is, obviously, 1, getting a win, but I'm talking about from the Marquette vantage point. 1, getting a win, but 2, getting off the field healthy. And, sometimes you don't even know until the next day or 2 days later just how many bumps and bruises and stuff you have. But that's going to be a key for Coach Reinhardt all year long, is staying healthy and keeping his kids healthy. So I hope that he's as healthy next week as he was going into this game. Oh, actually, I hope he's healthier, because I noticed a couple of kids on the sideline that were a little bit dinged up from 2-a-days.
So again, the final score here in Edwardsville, the season opener for Marquette and the Metro East Lutheran Knights. It's Marquette 48, Metro East Lutheran 24. Thanks to our engineers, Justin Miner and Brian Hennigan. Thanks to Mike Slaughter, who was alongside and will be alongside next Friday night as well. And thanks to you for tuning in. Don't forget, coming up, we've got Roxana and Freeburg following a news break here on Z1570. Don't forget, every high school broadcast on Z1570 is streamed live and then archived at AltonDailyNews.com for on-demand listening. And don't forget, a video of this game was also streamed at RiverBender.com, so you can check that out and watch the game, listen to the game, do whatever you want. So again, the final score, Marquette 48, Metro East Lutheran 24. Sam Stem saying have a great weekend, everybody.
Live play-by-play coverage of today's game featuring the Marquette Explorers and the Metro East Lutheran Knights has been sponsored on Z1570 by Johnson's Corner, 2000 State Street, the most popular corner in Alton. Country Insurance and Financial Services agent Lindsay Waters. Many needs, one agent. Godfrey Prescription Shop at Monticello Plaza in Godfrey. And Massey Pharmacy on State Street in North Alton, your Value Right pharmacies. McDonald's of Alton and Godfrey. Stop by after the game for a tasty treat. Premier Title and Escrow Company, offering professional service with a personal touch for all your real estate transactions. Williams Office Products on East Broadway in Alton and West Carpenter Street in Jerseyville, your hometown source for all your office equipment and supplies. St. Anthony's Health Center, keeping the promise, setting the pace. Roberts Ford Chrysler Jeep in Alton and Roberts Ford in Wood River, 2 locations to better serve you. State Farm Insurance Agent Tom Lane at 116 Bethalto Boulevard in Bethalto. providing 24-hour Good Neighbor service, 377-8912. St. Peter's True Value Hardware and Grand Rental on State Street in North Alton. Help is just around the corner. Quality Pontiac GMC Cadillac Buick on the Parkway in Alton. Home of 5-star award-winning service for Pontiac, Cadillac, Buick, and GMC. Phone Masters, your hometown source for all your telecommunications needs. Olin Community Credit Union. More Riverbend residents are choosing Olin Community Credit Union. Liberty Bank in Alton, Godfrey, and Bethalto. It's their people who make the difference. Lewis and Clark Community College on Godfrey Road. Find your course. Edward Jones Investment Representative Josh Farley, offering real solutions to real problems. Dixon Distributing Company and Anheuser-Busch, who salute parents who talk to their kids about drinking. Responsibility matters. And by the sports medicine pros at Alton Memorial Hospital's Human Motion Institute. This has been a live presentation of Z1570 Radio Sports.